Week 8 is in the books for the National Football League, and the Green Bay Packers now sit at 2-5. 2 wins, 5 defeats, 4 losses in a row after today's 24-10 whooping by the Minnesota Vikings in our own division, mind you. You know, if you're not a Green Bay Packers fan, you're probably in the camp of, oh, stop. You've had 3 decades of dominance at the quarterback position with Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers. For 30 years, year after year, you've had playoff seasons, more times than not. Season after season, a winning season. So you can take a year or 2 to just relax in the back of the line. But what those fans don't realize is that what we've had for 3 decades should be the requirement, the prerequisites for every single NFL team. If having a winning season every season is top-notch, the highest standards imaginable, then maybe we are not raising our standards to the point of which they should be. Because you look at those 30 years of dominance, quote unquote, we have 2 Super Bowls to show for it. Super Bowl 31 against the Patriots with Brett Favre at the helm, and leading the team into Super Bowl 45, Aaron Rodgers over the Pittsburgh Steelers. Other than that, what is our dominance? That we make the playoffs. We have some playoff victories. We have winning seasons. We win our division more times than not. That should be everybody's goal. No, because with those triumphs come all the heartbreaks. What you're not talking about is the 28 out of those 30 years that we have failed miserably in the playoffs. Failed miserably to get to that next step. So no, we won't apologize for the last 30 years of supposed dominance. And it would be unacceptable to take a back seat just for a season or 2 while the rest of the division catches up. Because it's not our fault that that division and much of the league couldn't keep up with the Green Bay Packers. Because again, if you're a Packer fan, and this is how every organization should look at themselves, that reflection staring back at them in that mirror, you should have prerequisites. You should have acceptable and not acceptable. In a winning season should not be the be-all, end-all. If you have a winning season or you made the playoffs for a certain amount of years in a row, that does not make you elite. So that when losing seasons come around, you can say, well, we had our time in the sun. No, we didn't. 30 plus years and only 2 titles to take back to Titletown is unacceptable. So that falls on Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers. Because we talk about all their milestones, all their heroics, their stats. But what about all of their bad calls? The games that they cost us, the bad mistakes, the botches, because a lot of those tough losses, that sits on their shoulders as well. So if you're going to talk the dominance of Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre's, let's talk the failures as well. Major failures that crippled the team at the most desperate of times and cost us seasons. They got us to the dance, and then they left the dance much too early. Way before Rodgers and Favre, Don Majkowski is when BC started watching the Packers. We were a losing football team, one of, if not the worst team in the league. And here's BC choosing that for his team. Don Majkowski was the starting quarterback. And here we are over 30 years later, and I gotta ask the question, was Don Majkowski better than Jordan Love? Oh, BC, that's harsh. Do you watch Jordan Love play football? It's not good. He's been in the league for years. He has studied for 3 years under Aaron Rodgers, a 4-time MVP. He's played in many drives, many full games, and now 7 full games in this season. And I'm not seeing improvement. By now, you would start to see improvement. Little bit. Nothing. Not one iota. In most categories, it's actually going backwards. Sadly. Now, a team is not just one man. Trust me when I say that, and I get that. Another reason why people just like to say, well, the Packers were winning just because of Rodgers or just because of Favre. Let's not act like they were not a complete team for most of those years. Let's not act like Brett Favre didn't have Antonio Freeman to connect with, or on defense, Reggie White to get him that ball back after one sack after another, or Desmond Howard on special teams running those kicks back for more points. Let's not act like Aaron Rodgers didn't have Devontae Adams, the best receiver in the league, or even a 1-2 punch behind him like Dillon and Jones. Bakhtiari covering his ass. Let's not act like they didn't have complete teams. Now, over the past several years, special teams have been imploding before any other area on this team, but for the most part, they were complete teams. So for Rodgers and Favre, if you're going to give them all the success that the Packers have had for 30 years, you better give them most of, if not all, the failures as well. It's a complete team that is crumbling right now. It's not just Jordan Love. I get it. But when the leader, the guy at the helm, is playing this bad and showing no signs of improvement, at what point do you wave and raise high that red flag and say, oh, we got a problem? It's a Jordan Love issue, a Jordan Love problem, and that needs to be solved yesterday, last week, a month ago. It's about time that we now say, maybe the Packers organization completely botched this Jordan Love draft. Maybe the Packers were wrong after 30 plus years, but that does not allow fans of the Packers to just throw this season into the mulligan category and say, oops, we'll get them next year. Think about it. We'll get a higher pick now. Unacceptable. And we are going to, as fans, tell the truth so that this team knows that this is unacceptable, just in case they forgot. Because the last several weeks of football, this entire season, has been an embarrassment. Even our victories. Never mind the 2 games we lost by 1 point when each team, the Falcons and the Saints, were giving us those games. Doing everything in their power not to win them. Volleying that ball to us and saying, please, we don't want this W. And the Packers said, well, we don't know how to win, so we can't help you. Please take the ball. Please beat us. Those were the 1-point games that everybody likes to go, we could have won those, BC. No, we couldn't have. The fact that it was 1-point games is because the teams we were playing were so badly in those games. We were just much worse. As far as the 2 teams we should have easily beat because they're 2 of the worst teams in the league, supposedly until the Packers said, hold my coffee, hold my beer, hold my beverage. You ain't the worst. You ain't seen us play. But the Raiders, back-to-back with the Broncos. Losing one of those games will give you a headache. Losing to both the Raiders and the Broncos will just give you a migraine. The 2-4 Packers versus the 3-4 Vikings in Week 8 of the National Football League. 2 really bad teams about to play a really bad football game. What team will prevail as worse than the other? That's the only question here. Are the Packers truly the worst team in the league right now? We've lost the last 3 in a row, and the last 2 were against, again, arguably the worst teams, the Raiders and the Broncos. Again, losing to one will give you a headache. Losing to both will give you a migraine. Well, what if we absolutely showed up at home against our division rival, the Vikings, and embarrassed ourselves again? What if that was to happen? The headache already occurred. The migraine's already there. What now? What if we embarrass ourselves? That won't happen, would it? Oh, here's the review. This is week 8 of the NFL season for the Green Bay Packers versus the Minnesota Vikings at Lambeau Field, Green Bay, Wisconsin. I'm going to get a few swigs of coffee. You guys are going to come right on back, and we're going to talk about this game. And I wish I could tell you this was going to be a positive review, but it's just not going to be. Because at this point, there's nothing positive linked with the Green Bay Packers. Swig of coffee, come right on back. Packers Vikings, week 8. The review amplified right now. Now, usually we break these reviews down quarter by quarter, but these games, these Green Bay Packer games, are becoming more and more miserably embarrassing by the week. That it no longer deserves it. So if you don't mind, I'm going to lump it up into two halves, the first half and the second half. Hopefully get you guys out of here much quicker. That cold open again was about 8-10 minutes, something like that. So most likely the review part of this upload will be quicker than the actual cold open. Because on the Packers side of things, they didn't do much yet again. Let me show you, let me just tell you just how bad. All right, because I'm going to give you numbers. I'm going to show you just how bad this Green Bay Packers team is this season. From the sidelines to the field, from the players to the coaching staff. They show up every week, clueless and lifeless. Every week. And it's redundancy at its peak, right? They absolutely have nothing for the first half of the game. And then the second half, our opponent will give us a few chances to get back in the game. But we don't have a clue what to do with those chances, right? We don't know what to do with those opportunities. Those gifts go unappreciated. So instead of taking those gifts and getting back in the game, we ask for a gift receipt because we're trying to return the gift. Thank you, but we don't know how to win this game. So we have to give this back to you. Let me show you just how bad this team is. In week 8, first half, 4 straight Green Bay Packer drives, 4 straight 3-and-outs. Please think of that. Just let that sink in. Let it marinate. 4 straight drives, 4 straight 3-and-outs. Barring penalties from the opponent, barring any shenanigans, you at least have 12 plays, right? To get 10 yards. 12 plays to get just 10 yards. If this was high school, it would be unacceptable. But the fact that this is an actual football team in the National Football League, and they cannot get 10 yards. People are talking about the Packers getting a touchdown. We're trying to get first downs. It is a struggle to get first downs. 4 straight drives, 4 straight 3-and-outs. And we were digging our hole as deep as possible before actually punting, too. Situations like 3rd and 22, 3rd and 16, 3rd and long, 3rd and long. Not even giving ourselves a chance. And Jordan Love needs many chances. Jordan Love needs miracles. Jordan Love needs divine intervention. Jordan Love needs a genie with 3 wishes. And even then, he'd still find a way to botch the drive. 2 minutes into this game and the Pack was getting booed, and it's justified. If you're one of those fans of the Packers or any other team that says you shouldn't boo your team, it's not going to do anything, it's rude, it's disrespectful, stick by them in victory and defeat. We are, and that's why we choose to tell the truth. Because the players need to know and the management more than anything needs to know when something is unacceptable. If you're giving me a 2-5 team, but we're playing our hearts out, we're good, but the other team was just better. But in all aspects and areas, we're improving. We're getting better. There's more good than bad. Less mistakes by the week. And that's one thing, man. That's bad breaks at a 2-5 record. But if you're 2-5 because you're embarrassingly bad and pathetic and you're not even getting better by the week, you're showing no signs of improvement. Your penalties are actually, your penalty yards are increasing by the week. More miscues and more botches by the week. Then that's telling me it is a complete organizational collapse. From management to the coaching staff to the players, the entire organization is crumbling all at once. That's what it's telling fans. So you'd be lying if you're going to show up, watch one miserable performance after another, and just tuck your hands underneath your ass and duct tape your mouth up. Don't boo, don't say anything negative to the team, show your support, or don't say anything at all. No, people are paying money to show up to these stadiums, show up to Lambeau Field, to get the beers and the hot dogs and the merch and the jerseys, and by stocking the team so that you can make even more money or build more to Lambeau Field. It's the fans that are putting the team on their backs, not the other way around. So if you want them to boisterously voice out in victory, you best be prepared for them to voice out in defeat. Especially when it is justified. Especially when we are telling you that this is unacceptable. Losing is going to happen. Losing this way every single week is unacceptable. So the boos that they were getting in 2 minutes in this game is justified. And I'm proud of every single person in that stadium at Lambeau Field. I'm proud of everybody for letting management know more than anything that this is not going to be tolerated. That this is one botch after another botch of epic proportions. And at the conclusion of the first quarter, the Pack had 15 yards of offense to Minnesota's 94. First downs, 0 to Minnesota's 8. That's the first quarter, guys, not the first half. The first quarter, we had 15 yards of offense. We had over 12 plays in the first quarter. We had 15 yards. We had no first downs. None. Minnesota had 8. The Pack have been outscored 73-9 in the first half of their last 5 games. That's a real stat. Right here in my notes. Highlighted too, so I know that it was double checked by yours truly. Because stats like that are so staggering that I have to do a double take on it. I have to fact check myself because it sounds so ludicrous. 73-9. The Packers have been outscored 73-9 in the first half of the last 5 games. Please think about that. Let it marinate. Let it sink in. For 5 straight games, the entire first half collectively, all 5 games, that's 5 halves. 5 halves. That's 2.5 football games. 2.5 football games. And they scored 9 points. If you're doing the math, that's no touchdowns, obviously, and a few field goals were able to go through the uprights when we're not missing those, but that's another story. It took us 20... I'm not even done. I told you. I was going to show you guys how bad we are. How miserably embarrassing, so that you understand why Packer fans are truly and justifiably upset at this level of play. Because it's not on the level of any football team, or it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be the standard. It shouldn't be the benchmark. Listen to this. It took us 26 minutes just to score our first down. That's right. I said score like it's a touchdown. 26 minutes into this game, we finally got a first down. If you're doing the math, that's basically the entire first half. At the end of the first half, we had 98 yards of total offense and 69 yards of penalties. You want me to say that again? Oh, I'll say it again. End of the first half, we had 98 yards of total offense. That's not just what Jordan Love threw. No. Total offense. That's with Dylan. That's with our backs. 98 yards of total offense. 69 yards penalties. Our penalty yards, once again, are almost equaling or on their way to equaling our total offensive yards. At halftime, it was 10-3, the Vikings. How it was this close, nobody knows. Talked to a couple of good buddies of mine that have a lot more knowledge within the league, and they were absolutely shocked that the Packers... And I told them, have you been watching the Packers this year? These are people that know a lot more than BC. I said, have you been watching them? I'm not shocked at all. These teams that we play... I don't know if we're so bad that they just let their guard down, but they give us present after present and we just reject it. We want the gift receipt. We don't want to do anything with the gift. We don't know how to win these games. We're always pretty close somehow. Until they finally say, well, shit, if you're not going to take any of our presents, then we're just going to take them all to the, we're taking it all to the house. We're just going to fucking walk away with the game. And that's what the Vikings did in the second half. But at the first half, the end of the first half, it was 10-3. If you weren't watching the game, you would actually think the Packers had a chance. Jordan Love, if you're wondering, was 10 of 15, 70 yards. 7 yards per catch was the average. 10 of 15. Doesn't sound too bad, right? BC, 10 of 15. Are you listening? 7 yards per catch was the average when he was missing, grossly overthrowing or grossly underthrowing. Which means he was just dinking and danking. This is the time of season. You can't just dink and dank every pass. You're going to have to complete the pass that is 12 yards down the field. Or dare I say 17, 19 yards down the field. You're going to have to do that. If you're going to be a quarterback in the National Football League. The second half. Starting the third quarter, Kirk Cousins was nearly flawless. Or our defense was already just checked out. Could be a mixture of both. But Cousins went 7 of 8 and completed the drive with a 3rd and 2 touchdown pass. 17-3 Vikings. They were done. They went into halftime and they said, dude, we tried to give the Packers 10 gifts. They rejected all of them. They asked for gift receipts on all 10. Let's just end this game now. And that's what they came out in the second half, and that's what the Vikings did. 17-3, and we never came back from that. We weren't coming back anyway. But to stamp that victory that early in the second half, on the very next possession, if you're wondering, Love once again grossly underthrows his receiver, and this time it's picked off. That's right. It's not just incompletions. I mean, Jordan Love is throwing one interception after another interception after another interception. So how does he answer a 17-3 deficit straight out from the third quarter? He throws in an interception. And Cousins isn't letting that gift go unappreciated. No. Cousins hits a 20-yard touchdown pass and makes it 24-3. The Pack would go on and connect on a 4th and 1 TD to make it 24-10. I believe it was Love to Romeo Doubs on a 1-yard completion, basically. The fact that it went to 4 downs where we were, it's mind-boggling, this team. And I said earlier how Jordan Love needs the genie with 3 wishes. He needs the miracles. He needs divine intervention. Well, he got all of them with that touchdown. Didn't do anything, of course. At that point, 24-10, and that was a wrap. It was a wrap. And by the way, we got that by going no huddle, and it's about damn time. Switch up everything. If everything is failing, switch it all up. If everything is not working, do the complete opposite for everything immediately. That is for anything in life. If something is failing from top to bottom all the time and no signs of getting it right, do the opposite and see if it creates change. We go no huddle and we scored a touchdown. What a concept. After knocking out Cousins, I believe he had an ankle injury. So Cousins is out of the game. And we got a couple of gifts, man. We had back-to-back possessions in our own red zone, or damn near, if not in the red zone. Back-to-back. Back-to-back. I believe there was like a fumble, and then we had, it's divine intervention, right? Miracles. The genie with the 3 wishes. The Packers had chances to actually get back in this game. Many of them. And we squandered them. Jordan Love, I believe it was like 4th down, and he had to get 15, 20 yards to get into the end zone, and instead he runs it, and he winds up a couple of yards short. This is not the first time he's done this. Clock management, not knowing the situation. It's situational football, folks. These are the basics. You learn these in Pee Wee. That's what I mean. I'll use Jordan Love as an example. There's many on this team, but Jordan Love, the leader, keeps making the same mistakes, keeps creating the same botches, and the second, third, fourth time is always worse than the first, second, third time. The grossly overthrown balls, the grossly underthrown balls, the interceptions, the sacks for not just 5 yards, but 10, 15 yards. And then not knowing the situation, not knowing the clock, not doing any of that right. And this has been a debacle of a year for Jordan Love. And for anybody to say, give him time. He's been in the league for years, learning under Aaron Rodgers. He's played full National Football League games over the last 3 years. He is playing in his first full season already in his 8th week, 7 games. What do you want to give him? Another year, 2, maybe 3 years to do what? Be a bare minimum quarterback, average AF, middle of the league? Is that really what happened to the Packers football organization? We're settling for bare minimum. We wanted Rodgers out the door so we could get bare minimum average AF? Because what's the peak for Jordan Love? How much better you think this kid is going to be? Could we possibly win 3 games next season with him? Because I'm just asking questions. We failed at several opportunities late in this game. They just did not. Cousins went out. There's the first wish from the genie. Then we got like a fumble or something. We wound up in the end zone. The genie gave us a second. The genie gave us a third wish. He gave us another opportunity, and we couldn't do anything with him. Nothing. We're missing field goals. We're getting intercepted. Jordan Love he needs to get in the end zone. It's 4th down, and he runs short. Anyway, the game then ended because either the clock went out or everybody, the referees, the Vikings, the Packers, the fans in attendance, anybody who unfortunately had to watch this game, everybody just threw in the white towel and said, enough. This is embarrassing to another degree. How many times are you going to let the Packers try to get in this game? And they're like, I don't know what to do. Like the fucking Christmas Story. The little brother who's in the snow and he's flipped on his back, but he's got the giant snowsuit on that his mother put on him. So he can't get up. Guys, I can't get up. God, I can't get up. Right? Somebody's got to pick the little brother up because he doesn't know what he's doing. He doesn't know how to flip over. He doesn't know how to get out of that snowsuit. He doesn't know how to get out of the snow. The Packers don't know what they're doing. They're stuck in the snow. They're stuck in the snowsuit in the snow. And Ralphie, their big brother, is nowhere to be found. Somebody's got to pick this little brother up, man. This Packer team is miserably embarrassing. And it's easily, I say this with no hesitation when I say this to anybody, and I'll say it a billion times until I see any signs of life or improvement. The Green Bay Packers are the worst team in the National Football League. Now, I understand there's teams with records that are as low, maybe even lower. It's not about the record. I said earlier, you could be 2-5 and I could be okay with this team. It's the way we are losing. It's the mistakes. It's the penalties. It's the botches. It's the no signs of improvement. It's the no improvement. It's everything. From the management to the coaching staff to the players. This is a miserably embarrassing organization this year. And the way that we are losing these games. how bad we are, how bad we're screwing up, how bad we're playing football. You're not going to convince me there's a worse team in the National Football League than, unfortunately, our Green Bay Packers. You kind of wish it was. You kind of wish it was like maybe a peewee, right? Maybe the team is so bad, maybe everybody gets together and goes, listen, maybe they shouldn't show up. Maybe it's not a good idea if we play this game. I was watching this documentary recently, and maybe it's down in Texas. But when a team was so good, teams would come to their field and they would just get blown out. And when the score reaches a certain number, they shut the scoreboard off. Because it's embarrassing, right? And you don't want the kids to know that they're just getting blown out so badly. So this is a true story. They shut the scoreboard when it reaches like 40 or something. Now, I'm not saying the Green Bay Packers are getting blown out every week, but these performances, it's like that bad. It's like, don't even put the scoreboard on, because it's an automatic Green Bay L every time we take the field. And the scoreboard is just a reminder of just how pathetically bad we are. That's it, folks. Week 8 in the National Football League is in the books, our 7th game, and we are now 2-5. This is not the way anybody thought the Jordan Love era was going to begin. And this is a bigger problem than just let it play out. Give him time. He'll improve. He'll get better. The Packers will get better. This is worse than that. Much, much worse than that. I hope you understand that's where the problem lies. If this was just that, that's fine. Give him time. I don't know how much more time you need than 4 years. I don't know how much more time. You think it's just 7 games that he's played? Jordan Love has played many full games, not just preseason, by the way. Games outside of when Rodgers was injured. He played full games in years past. Studied under Rodgers. Has 7 complete games back to back to back to back to back to back to back this year. No signs of improvement. Just getting worse, actually. So I love the optimism, but where is it coming from? There's no place for it. It's not being truthful. Everything we're doing right now, do the complete opposite starting next week. It should have already been done a month ago. Everything we are doing, do the complete opposite. Go no huddle the full game. I don't care. Work on your cardio. That's the best I can tell you. I don't care how tired you are. Make sure the other team is more tired than you, so that even though they may be better than us, they can't catch up with us. No huddle. Start with that. As far as Jordan Love's accuracy or lack thereof, I don't know the remedy for that. It's really bad. I could go another hour, but this team isn't even worth it. I'll see you for next week's Week 9, 8th game for the Green Bay Packers. The complete review, no matter how bad, it will be reviewed by BC on this channel. So come on back. Hopefully we can be a little bit more positive about it. Hopefully they can give us something to see a little bit more of a better future for the Green Bay Packers ahead. Because so far, this is bringing me back to the Don Majkowski days when I first started watching the Packers and we were the worst team in the league. Sometimes history is deemed to repeat itself. The Amplified Man. Until next time, and there will be that next time. Packers Week 9 review coming up in just 7 days. Till next time, BC Top Guys, we're out. Check you. Peace. Appreciate it. Go Pack. Just go home. Rest up. Let's try this again tomorrow. Check you.